Right, let's do this. Hi there. Today we're going to talk about where is the source of the mojo of your acting shots. Essentially, I think that the animator is basically the conjunction, if that's a word, a mix-up of two main skill sets. One is the one related to the animation process itself, like timing, spacing, looking at Facebook, that's very important. And the other one is the previous stage that belongs to the planning. Depending on your skill sets, your abilities, or depending on how lazy you really are, during the process you may choose in between. Video references are probably the most common. Thumbnailing, auto-observing, lots of people does that through mirrors, or 2D animation. But where I'm actually trying to go is underneath that planning process, that falls into one single craft, which is the perform or the acting. And let's face this, as animators, or acting skill set sucks. Oh my god! Did he just say that? But I get it. I know that we didn't sign up in this job for the acting itself, but it's something that sometimes it happens. We're not good at it and we don't enjoy actually doing the acting process. So I'm doing this video for those who want to find a new way that allows them to explore how to do a different way of acting, or for those who are just interested in expanding their skill set and finding new ways to perform and get new ideas for the shots that I'm working on. For most of my career, well, that's the difference. For most of my career, the main feedback that I've been giving in all these years is been about character developing stuff. Many animators, they follow some routines or some tips that those schools that range from overall Pixar gives away. Probably heard about the looking at or studying at the curve of the character, understanding where is it coming from, where is it going, studying if the character has any kind of personal traits, and we can call this doing some kind of personality research. There is a very nice video from Sergio Pablos that you can find in the internet where he goes through his thought process during his process of designing a character that we can actually apply very easily to our process of doing personality research. And believe me, I have nothing against that system of work. I've used it myself many times. I've seen others using it. Some others don't even use that. But I can see that this system of work sometimes has generated some issues in the animators. After doing this personality research, we ended up with a huge chunk of information that we don't know how to implement it. So at the end, instead of being helping, it ended up being more counterproductive. So what happened at the end? We ended up taking some of those personality research pieces, we put it together, we add some cliches, we vary those cliches so it doesn't look like a cliche. Some eye darts here, some head shakes, and lots of hand gestures. Like every time we say something, we add a hand gesture so it looks pretty cool and looks more natural. I call that hunting. That's a very bad joke. I'm sorry. So if we don't want to waste our time or neither our money taking some extra classes of acting or even clown, which I really recommend, I'd like to share with you an introduction and a short distillation of a very powerful technique of acting, which is the method. The method is a very well-known system of acting among the actors circle. It's actually been very mystified with very bizarre results. Some of the most well-known method actors are like Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson, Al Pacino, Michael Caine, I believe, is one of those two. Actually, if you are curious to see the results of some of the phenomena that happen around the people who does that kind of technique, I invite you to go and see in Netflix a documentary that I believe is called Andy and Me, which is about Jim Carrey on the time he was shooting Man of the Moon. Generally speaking, method actors, they don't act. They become the characters that they are playing. It's not that they fake, it's not that they try to give you the impression that they are something else. No, what they do, they integrate the role of the character they are playing and they put it into their bones, they put it into their body in a way that they are those roles, they are those characters. That's why most of the time those method actors, they always look like the same in all the movies that they do. Robert De Niro is always Robert De Niro in their movies, or Al Pacino is always Al Pacino in their movies, Michael Caine is always Michael Caine. At the end you can see that it's always the same person. It's not changing too much from one to another. It feels genuine, it feels like real, it feels like you're not faking, man. You're really feeling, you really mean what you are saying, right? And I'm not calling myself a method expert, I'm not even a method actor, but as an animator, all these years I've been extracting and I've been understanding the basic of this system that helped me a lot during the years. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, along with all these benefits that I found. Some of the benefits that I've found during this process are this. One, it saves us time. It saves us time because, first of all, you give some acting options that usually tends to like a lot. Why does this happen? Because usually when we use the method, you offer two things to your supervisor, to your colleagues, to your directors. First thing is spontaneity, and that means that usually what you show tends to be more genuine, more fresh, and supervisors and directors used to like that a lot. And second thing is singularity, and by singularity means that you show something that out of the common. It's not that you are trying to be weird, it's not that you are looking for doing something exceptional, or you're just simply showing something that is slightly off the common, and that usually it likes a lot. The second thing that I found is that you're giving something to play with to the directors and to the supervisors. We tend to think that as team players we don't want to stand out, we don't want to get all the attention, and that's pretty normal and that's okay. I don't think we all should be a star, so we don't want to push our ego to become better than the rest of the others. Instead, I think it's very healthy to know that we can push our creativity in order to open the creative possibilities to the rest of the team. So just think about it. If everybody thinks not wanting to offer something different in the team, what happens is that the whole creative process of the animation in a show will stay the same, and nobody, not even the directors, not even the supervisors, will have something to play, to compare, to say go that way or go as that person did or that artist did. Because sometimes what directors and supervisors do, they see what the team is capable of doing in order for asking for more. If we know that the team can do till a certain level, the directors or supervisors don't keep asking for more, right? But if everybody or most of the animators, or some of the animators at least, humbly they push the barriers and they give more creative options, I think that will help to the directors to, okay, let's keep playing, let's see what else we can keep doing, let's try this, let's try that. And the third, and for me the most important benefit of this, is that you're happy and you are more satisfied, because basically you're acting out your guts, you're doing whatever you want by, as I said, by showing out spontaneous actions, by showing out singular acting, and by helping the rest of the team to, okay, go up. That usually generates a lot of excitement, not just in yourself, in the rest of the team, and that's highly satisfied as creative in a creative team. So that will make your life happier and your career more fruitful. So let's start. First of all, I think it's very important to have the right mindset for this. I like you to think this as a new way of exploring your creative ideas. Probably this may be something very off of what you've been doing. So stay open, stay your mind open, and remember that this is just a game, this is just something that we do for fun, for exploration. And take this as a step-by-step practice. Don't force this too much. You have to enjoy this process, and the more you do it and the more you're there to keep exploring how this method can help you or it can make you to enjoy more, the easier it's going to be for you and the more clear the results are going to be. So yeah, open mind and be playful. The focus of this work is to trying to immerse in the emotional phenomena of the characters that we are working on. What I mean with that is, if not becoming, at least we're gonna try to feel the same way the character we're working with feels. Because this is the main point. I highlight this. You have to feel your character. Every time I say this, I remember the first time that an animator said this to me in French. You have to feel the character. You have to feel it in your own body, with your own emotions. You see this shot of Hotel Tijuana. I was actually angry many times during the planning, and not during the planning only, during the process of animating. People used to say, wait a second, that's you. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. So this is what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna start trying to be the more familiar as we can with our own emotions. The more we do that, the better for this method to work. This means that we need to fully embrace our emotions, to accept them, because many of us, we actually don't accept to cry, we don't accept to fear, or we don't accept to get angry, right? So first of it is that we need to accept that it's part of the human nature, it's part of actually something that is called emotional intelligence. Think of it as colors. It's like if we need to, for painting something, we need to go inside ourselves and take the colors or collect the colors that we need to use for that painting, right? So that's what we're gonna do in the first instance. We're gonna go inside us, we're gonna try to get familiar with our emotions or the colors, and we're gonna get familiar, normalize them, and we bring them out to the surface to their shots. And once we've done that, we're gonna be able to understand how our emotions are translated into our body. I mean, when we feel something, genuinely our body goes into some very particular poses without thinking. It just goes naturally to those particular gestures. Like for example, if I get angry, I know that some body gestures are gonna happen that are very common between you and you and you. Some aspect of getting angry is just like, for example, the hands, they get tense, the back, it gets hunched over, right? And then the face, it gets like a very particular gesture, right? All those gestures, all those postures, they may be common between you and me. That's actually probably how the cliches were born, because that language is common for most of us. But what we don't want to get is the cliche. What we don't want to get is the common. What we want to get is the uncommon. How I'm differently being angry than you. So summing up, these are the three goals that we want to achieve. One is to be able to get familiar to our own emotional phenomena and accept it and lose the fear to it and just go for it. Second is to be able to accent those emotions in a very genuine way during the process of shooting for yourself, during the process of planning, and find the uniqueness of our performance. And third is going to be to get everything that we've done before and be able to read it and translate it into the 3D character that we have. And so at the end, this is going to be a layer that you put on top of whatever your process for planning is, whether it's video shooting or video referencing, 2D planning, thumbnailing. So we're gonna learn this process in two different stages. First stage is gonna be to learn how we can normalize and get familiar with our own emotions. And the second stage is going to be to learn how we can bring that and use that technique when we are animating our shots. Okay, first stage, opening up to our emotions, or so-called cry animator, cry. At least at the very beginning, I recommend you to take this as a game, okay? Just take it easy, as at ease as you can. If it's possible, do it on your own, do it in a space that you feel free. This is like actually spending some time with yourself, right? So the idea is actually that you're in a space where you feel free and safe to explore your emotions, and that's it. The 4 basic emotions that I recommend you to go and explore are the main basic emotions, which are joy, anger, sadness, and fear. So in order to explore these 4 basic emotions, we are going to be using external triggers, such as music and movies. Both of them are super perfect for arising up our emotions and creating this kind of internal phenomena that makes the experience of listening music or watching a movie so interesting, so intense, so fun. So you can do this process either by planning it or either by just being spontaneous and deciding it to do it. You can plan to watch a movie to do this explorational game, or you can just one day that you are sitting watching a movie, you can just say, oh, let's gonna do this. And what are you gonna try to do is that when you're listening to that music or when you are watching that movie, the moment you start feeling something, you have to let those feelings to expand to your body. And by expand to your body, I mean that when you're doing this activity, the moment you feel that something is happening inside you, you switch your focus from whatever you are looking at or whatever you are listening towards yourself. By switching that towards yourself, you let yourself to feel that fully, and you let your emotions to go over your body, right? So the point of this is that you let your body to feel whatever you're feeling. You let your body to express whatever you are feeling. This can be a very slow process, it's gradual. At the very beginning, maybe you don't want to get in, maybe you get a little freaked out, but it's okay. Little by little, you dare to go a little further, and once at some point, you're gonna see that your body starts to act by itself, not by thinking, but just feeling it. The moment you start to really feeling genuinely, and the moment you start to let the body feel and express itself freely, you're gonna see how it starts to move by itself. It starts to just get particular poses that I'm not thinking about it, I'm just feeling it, right? Actually, the point of it is that you stay in that feeling all the time, and you will discover yourself moving. You will discover yourself getting into postures and getting into gestures that are very characteristic of that emotion, whatever you're feeling. The more you let that emotion to expand into your body, and the more you let that happen, the more you're gonna see how your body is speaking by itself. This is gonna help you to observe yourself, or in case that you are shooting in the future, to see how characteristic or how unique you can be when you are acting out. Couple of tips that I give you in this stage is that you can have a list of music or a list of movies that represents or that brings the different emotions that you are looking for. For me, for example, it's easier to do that in music because it's faster to explore that. For a movie, you need to look at the whole movie, and actually the range of emotions vary a lot in a movie, right? So you need to be able to switch from one emotion to another emotion. With one song, you can go to one or two emotions very fast, very quick, if you let it happen. Another extra tip that I give to you is that you can name it. When you are feeling that emotion, whatever it is, sometimes we don't have the real clarity. Okay, what's going on? What is it that I am feeling? You observe it, and then you say, okay, what I'm feeling is anger, what I'm feeling is sadness, what I'm feeling is joy. That way you start to build your own emotional libreria or library that is going to help you to identify in the future, okay, what is it that I am feeling, what is it that I need to feel, what is it that the emotion that I need to bring. So yeah, this is like creating your palette in a very conscious way. The last tip that I give you for this stage are only for the very brave ones. If you have enjoyed till here more or less the process, if you already have identified and let those four emotions to grow and expand, and you've seen, oh wow, how curious, how differently I behave when I let those emotions to happen naturally. If you have enjoyed that and you want to go a little further, what you can do is during the process of feeling those emotions, take a good series of deep breaths. I'm talking about something like 10 or 20. And by deep breaths, I'm talking about big, long breaths. So you can do these long breaths as the moment you start to feel that. This is going to intensify your feelings. It's going to make your emotions way more clear, way more intensified. Okay, so second stage is going to be about how to bring those emotions during the process of animating. So let's say that you are ready to start your shot. You have your shot, your file, your characters, and you're getting ready to do the planning, whatever that process of planning is. If you're doing thumbnailing, everything is closed. You have your pad, the camera is there, it's very ready to roll. You're basically ready to do the process. First thing that you're gonna do, obviously, as in all the processes, you're gonna listen to the audio, but try to sit and listen to the audio as much relaxed as you can. The idea of this part of the process is that you let the audio get into your bones as much as you can. So listen to it one at a time, and relax into it, and just let it be the only thing that you can experience. It's like when you're listening to that song that you really like very much, right? And you put the headphones, you close your eyes, and you just feel it and feel it and feel it and feel it, like, fuck, I really like this song, right? The same thing is that what you should do in this process. Once that you are really soaked into the audio, that you spend a couple of minutes feeling it, that you're like, the whole experience is in that audio, then you ask yourself these 3 questions, or one of these 3 questions, or something that is similar. This reminds me to, or this audio reminds me to, da 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 da. This character reminds me to, da 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 da. Or what is happening in the shot reminds me to, da 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 da. And you complete the sentence. This probably will bring you a memory, some personal event that happened in the past. Or also maybe what can happen is that brings you a naked emotion. If it brings a memory, it's alright, you do the same process as the first stage. You remember that past event that happened, and you turn inwards into your emotion, okay? And you let that emotion to arise, right? Why? Because what you are doing is that you are vinculating the shot that you are working on with that past event that you went through, okay? So what you want is to create that bridge. And how do you do that? By asking those questions that will bring those emotions. And the moment you bring those emotions, you let those emotions to talk and to express through your body. And if it brings a naked emotion, good for you. You bypass the memory. So what you have to do is the same drill. You feel the emotion and you let it expand, and you let your body talk. So let's do this together. Let's say that I have this audio. This audio that I've chosen is from The Goonies. It's a movie that I really like, and I know that it creates a lot of emotion of me. And I'm gonna create a parenthesis here to talk about very briefly about choosing your shots. I defend 200% the thing of picking the shots you wanna work on. In all my years of my careers, I always picked up my shot. You can, in a very humble way, in a very honest way, talk to your supervisor or talk to your lead and say, listen, I really like this shot. It creates in me a lot of emotions and it motivates me to work on this shot. So can I please have this shot to work on? By doing that, you're not just only giving yourself the guarantee that you're gonna get connected to the shot that you're working on, it's gonna be a good guarantee of good creativity juice, right? So there is nothing bad in asking for that. Lead supervisors appreciate when animators are confident enough about their own creativity and are confident enough to ask for something that they want. So the only thing that you have to do, is to stay humble and to say, hey, please, can I have this shot? I would really love to do that. And that's it. So that's why I've chosen this shot, that's why I've chosen this audio, because it's a movie, it's an audio that creates feeling on me, and this would have been an audio that I would have picked. So let's hear it.
Don't you realize? The next time you see Sky, it'll be over another town. The next time you take a test, it'll be in some other school. They want the best of stuff for us. But right now they gotta do what's right for them. Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
So first thing that I recommend you is that when you are listening to the audio, don't just listen to the audio of the shot you are only working on. Listen to the whole thing. If there is context, put yourself into the situation of the context, okay? Later on, when you shoot yourself or when you plan, you can just get focus and get the notes or shoot yourself in the audio that you are only working. But for the very beginning, for the starts, it's good to just listen to the whole context. Okay, so I'm going to do this again with you, and this time I'm gonna go through the steps. So first, I sit and I just enjoy the audio, and I just listen to the audio and I try to just feel it.
The next time you stop for us. But right now, up there, down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Okay, so let's imagine that our shot is the very last part of that shot when it says our time is here. This audio is not more than 30 seconds and it goes through different emotions, right? At least in my experience. Because again, it's not about what is happening there, it's about what is happening in me, right?
The next time you take a test.
When it's talking about what's gonna happen the next time, I feel sadness. I feel like everything is gonna change, guys. And it's something that is taking me down. It feels like sad, okay? Then
School. Our parents, they want the best stuff for us.
it's starting to go up. Our parents.
But right now they gotta do what's right for them. Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time.
It's starting to differentiate between the parents. What is going on with the life of the parents? Because that's the story about of the Goonies. So we start with sadness, and then we start to go up to something that is more uplifting, to something that is like, guys, I'm trying to get courage here. So this is the part of the tagging. That's the tip that I said before. Tagging the emotions that I'm feeling. So it helps me to identify, to put a name, what are the emotions that I'm feeling, right? What now we're gonna do is try to get that emotion, whatever that emotion is, and try to feel it, try to expand it. Okay, let's do that.
Now they gotta do what's right for them. It's our time. It's our time down here.
And now you ask those questions. In my experience, right now to me is bringing me a naked emotion, right? So I don't need to go through any memories because it's giving me already the emotion, right? So I'm gonna let that emotion to expand as I keep listening to it. One very important aspect is that you don't need to match the dialogue. What you need is to get the bits, to get the idea, to get the postures, to get the emotion out of it. Later on, you can add up that to the dialogue and get more in timing. If you put your mind in matching the dialogue, then you're gonna lose the spontaneity.
They want the best because it's their time. It's our time here.
Okay, something that is happening as I'm doing this is because I don't have a shot, I don't have my production set of this, that I need to look at something. I need to know where am I looking, I need to know where am they talking. In this scene, the character is taken from above, right? Because the guys are about to leave to take the exit, and this guy is talking from below, trying to convince those friends to not leave, to continue their adventure, right? So I'm gonna try to visualize that they're right there, and I'm gonna try to implement that as much as I can, or integrate that in the acting that I'm trying to do, okay?
But right now they gotta do what's right for them. Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. But right now they gotta do what's right for them. Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
And I can continue this process till I get tired or till I find details that I like. But that's the drill. Some insights that I found as I was doing it is that I felt a lot in my hands. I felt that the character, as he was asking to the guys, please do not leave, it's like a process of coming out. It's like if it's a character that is not super confident. He's not a hero, he's not a lead. He becomes a lead actually in this movie, okay? He's not a leader. He's coming out, so there is some kind of shy or insecurity that he's trying to put back as he asks the friends to continue the quest. And I was feeling that as I was touching my hands, like, I'm sorry guys, but we need to do this. We need to continue this adventure. And the other thing that I also felt is that I was coming out of sadness. Remember that at the very beginning of the audio, I was feeling sadness because of what would happen if we leave now. So I was actually starting to feel that uplifting feeling mixed up a lot with sadness. That's why probably my expression, my gesture was more sad. But that's pretty much it. That would be the process. Next, what I would do is I would look at this video, and my process would be to start doing thumbnails, right? But what is happening now is that I have already registered this feeling. I already have this emotion. The more I continue working with the shot, the more easy for me is going to be to go back to this feeling in order to keep looking for ideas or just to study more of it. So finishing up this class of method acting for animators, a couple of things that you should know or is good to mention, because we are not live action actors, we're not gonna stay in this process, in this emotional process, for the 8 months that the rolling process goes. This is only gonna happen, I don't know, 1 minute, 3 minutes in 3 weeks or something like that. So there is nothing bad in this. We're not gonna get crazy. It's not gonna happen to us what happened to Jim Carrey during Man of the Moon. Take this as a game. Take this as a exploration of our own emotional phenomena and how we can apply that to our creative skills. And the other thing is that the method can be applied by bits. You don't need to do the whole thing, because again, this is not a live action movie. You're not shooting yourself, and you don't need to keep everything in the same cut. You can explore the method, or you can apply the method by bits. So for example, when I was working on the shot, I didn't want to go all over the shot in one take. What I did is that I focused right only in the beginning till here, and probably another time I only tried to get and focus in getting this expression. I remember that getting this particular expression took me a lot of bits. So by having the possibility of bringing the emotion that I want to bring, I was able of only focusing in this feeling of, don't talk to me. But this happened because this is a very snappy show, right? So by having the possibility of creating these quick changes in between the bits, I was able to explore all the different bits of the shot without the danger of maybe doing something that goes too out of the flow, right? Because actually in a snappy show, what you want is that snappy feeling, right? So going quickly from one part, from one bit to another, is not that bad. It's actually something that it creates a very nice feeling. So that's how exploring the different bits independently is a good idea. It's not bad. And that's it. Whew. Thank you for watching this video. If you reach this moment, I'm exploring new ways of teaching, of talking to people and sharing everything that I know, because I feel that I want to share lots of things with you guys. So please, if you like what you've seen, if you find it useful, subscribe. You can post a comment, you can ask any questions, you can visit us on the Facebook group, and share. That's also very important, because the key of this is to share. So feel free to share. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your support, and see you soon.